Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dink Tank podcast. My name's JJ.
And I'm Graham.
And this is episode 22.
22.
Not a ton of news this week. So I think we're just going to kind of jump into a bunch of paddles that have been coming out. Not as many as the last month and a half, but more than I was guessing when I was putting together, or when we were talking about what we were going to talk about for this week.
Yeah, we kind of got a surge in the past 3 days. So
yeah.
A lot of these are going to be very first impressions.
Very much so. As well as a couple that we've had, some new variations.
Yeah.
As well as our giveaway winner we will be announcing at the end. So you were able to enter the last 2 weeks. We'll finally announce the winner, and then I'm sure we'll have another giveaway probably next episode.
Yeah.
But just jumping into it, this we can finally talk about, and that's the waves.
Yep.
And when I say we can talk about it, I mean we can go into detail.
Yeah.
Because we had to do first impressions, weren't able to go into swing weights, or weren't able to go into technology either. So yeah, I'm glad we could probably finally give our true review and thoughts on this paddle. I'll let you kick it off though, because the reviewer community has been very down on this paddle. I'll just say that, which you and I think from the start were a little against that, but maybe some things have changed for both of us.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I was surprised how much dislike for this paddle, this paddle has been getting.
Yeah.
Especially in regards to power. So if we go into power, this thing hits as hard as anything else.
Correct.
I think. As long as you hit the sweet spot.
Yes.
Which is probably the struggle, because paddles like the Boomstick are coming out, paddles like the Loco are coming out, where the entire paddle is a sweet spot.
Yes.
This one is kind of back to very narrow sweet spot, very small. But like I said, if you hit the sweet spot, it's great. I really enjoy it. I did find so I really enjoyed it at first, and I still do enjoy it. But that sweet spot did become a factor, especially when you get into high level games. You miss just a little, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that with foam in general. Even with the Loco, it's if you don't have weight on it and you hit the wrong spot, these foam paddles just don't go anywhere.
Correct.
Compared to a Gen 3 paddle. If you miss with a Yola Pro 4, it's probably going over the net still. Mm-hmm. These will just die. But overall, I do think I do really like it. I think it is a major upgrade from the Genesis. I think it's just better. I don't think the sweet spot is much worse, if at all, than that. And then more power. And then, same shapes. So,
yeah. So I agree with almost everything you said. I'll go into a little bit of the details about the core. I will have my review out on this. I'm sure a bunch of people have already watched some on this as well. But if you didn't know, the core on this has waves, hence the face, or the name of the paddle. It's got these S's throughout the paddle. And what's unique about it is that they're different thicknesses. So you'll have different widths of that wave going down the paddle. And I'm curious if that's what's causing some of the inconsistencies. I really don't know. One of the other major adjustments they took feedback from was there used to only be a fiberglass square on the other. This one, they implemented it throughout the entire face. So maybe that's giving some reasons. I don't know. It's very odd. So outside of that, my initial impressions with this were I really liked the paddle. I was playing it stock. I used a prototype of the 4 for a couple weeks. Then I got the final productions in, used the 1 and the 3 a lot. And I liked it. I played really well with it stock, but I could tell, the sweet spot's not great. But I'm like most paddles, when I add weight, the feel will be improved. And the feel and the power went up when I added weight, but my play got worse, which I've never experienced that with another paddle. I played my mishits when it was stock, didn't feel great, but they'd go over the net and they'd be decent resets. And I'm talking about those digs and just ones that, you hit off center when you don't have time to hit the ball, basically. Versus when I added weight, it was just a couple pop-ups, just a couple, just more inconsistencies throughout the face, even though the paddle felt better. It's a very unique paddle to me. But just to summarize, I will go with kind of what you said. I think this is a very clear upgrade over the Genesis. However, I think the way I will differentiate the two to me is if you're a higher level player that can generate your own power, I do think the Genesis is probably a better paddle for you. But I think for the mass market, this will be a better paddle for most people because a lot of people, everyone wants power.
Yeah.
And it's not going to break. It's, as you mentioned, it hits harder than anything else on the market, or it's at the same level as everything else on the market for top end power. And just, yeah, the only thing is just a little inconsistencies on some, and the sweet spot's not great.
I will say the spin on this thing is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It might spin the most out of any paddle I've ever played with.
The dwell is, and that's what they were going for with the waves.
Yeah.
So, getting into the core is they designed it because they wanted to have that tennis string effect.
Yeah.
Which everyone already complimented the Genesis for being able to pocket the ball.
Yeah.
And this does it even more.
Yeah.
So
I hit some rolls from like well below the net, and just it rolls right over the net.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's one of those paddles again, because I know it was really interesting when the Genesis launched, because obviously a ton of people loved that paddle. It was the first foam paddle that was mass market.
Yep.
And everyone, especially in the reviewer community, we all said how it pockets the ball. But then a lot of people got them and they're like, oh, it doesn't spin a ton. And the thing I've learned, and this one, it's going to stick the same thing, is you get the added dwell time and spin if you're swinging through the ball, not at the ball. Because a lot of which is going to be if you have the tennis motion, or if just you've played a lot of racket sports, just knowing how to capture that ball and kind of throw it is kind of the way I would almost describe it, versus just hitting at the ball, expecting that to then generate. So I think that's definitely still true with this. I just kind of want to preface that because I agree. This paddle spins phenomenally, but you have to be able to generate spin to really see that top tier performance. And same thing of like kind of what you were saying with on top of that spin and control. I know I said there's some inconsistencies, but when you hit the sweet spot, or even, just general sweet spot, because I don't think it's super tiny. It's just once you get outside, it's kind of like everyone says it's a paddle tech. I think that's a good comparison. Yeah. So once you get out on the outer rim, it's like that's where you're going to start seeing. And I'm not talking edge guard. I mean like top corners, bottom corners, stuff like that. But you can really position the ball well. Like when I would, especially on some drives, I'd just be like, okay, it's like, I want to shape this ball. I want to hit in the back corner, and just my motion felt very natural with it. So I really like this paddle for that. But yeah, I don't know. It's some weird phenomenon. So I put 3 grams on 3 and 9 with this one. The 4, I did some on top and a little on the corners, but it's an odd feeling. I don't know.
No, I agree.
It's really hard to explain. But it's still a good paddle. I don't think it's the best paddle on the market. I think the added performance makes it better than the Genesis, but it is still more of the same. Yeah. So it's like if you like the Genesis and your biggest complaint was the power, you'll probably like this. Yeah. But if you hit the Genesis and you're like, I don't like this, you probably won't like this.
Yeah, I agree. Or I think Isaac made a good point. If you want to switch from a paddle tech and get into the foam, this is probably a good jump.
I'd agree with that.
So, but yeah, I think too, people's opinion on this paddle are very from the fact of like paddle technology has gotten so much better since the Genesis came out at the beginning of this year that it's like, this paddle is definitely better than the Genesis in my opinion. It's not, it's close, but it's not. Yeah. It is definitely an upgrade in most ways. But when the Genesis came out, we didn't have a Pro 4. We didn't have the Loco, the boomstick. Foam has come a long way. The Honolulu paddles.
No floating core Gen 3 or Gen foam. No floating core.
No floating core foam. And it's improved a lot since then. And
more options.
And more options, yeah. And cheaper options too.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing a lot of the reviewers are really bashing this paddle on, is that they don't think it's necessarily better than the Genesis, and then the price is so much more than like the Quanta or the new V-Soles from Vatic, or the new Loco even. And also I know in some people's mind is another $50 and you can go to a boomstick.
Yep.
So it isn't a unique spot, but
and at $280, you could also just buy a Pro 4.
Yeah. Which at the end of the day is still the best paddle on the market across the board. The one thing I will say though, is if you're on the fence about this, or say you had a Genesis and I said this in my review also, Carbon has a 30-day return policy, which like no questions asked, you get your money back. So it's, if you're on the fence about it and you think you'll like it, but you're getting a bit dismayed by some of the reviewers, just try it. You'll be able to return it. I always say it's like, we're here just to kind of guide you.
Yeah.
Demo a paddle, because you might like something a little differently than how I like versus some other reviewers like, or how Graham likes. So yeah, that's always my recommendation. And Carbon makes it easy. So
I think too, where we're getting with paddles, and we keep saying this, but it's like, they're all getting good.
Yeah.
All the paddles are really good. It's really down to preference at this point. So like you said, if you like the Genesis and you want more power, you're going to like it. If you didn't like the Genesis, you're probably not going to like it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, overall, I've enjoyed my time with the Waves. I'll be curious to see if I keep continuing to play with it after my review. I'm sure I'll keep bringing it out. We have a lot of friends locally here that play Carbon and are big Carbon enthusiasts, so I'm sure we'll be seeing them. But yeah, I'll be very intrigued by the mass market's like public opinion on this paddle.
Yeah,
because obviously we've been hearing a lot just from the reviewer community. So yeah, I think that'll cap this one off.
Yeah. Next up, we got a new paddle from Gherkin. You actually got this one.
Yeah, I got this one.
Yeah, you got this one.
So this is my assumption of the untitled paddle that you got. All the co-hosts got, none of the hosts got. But yeah, this showed up in the mail. You do not have yours yet, but I
don't have mine.
I think they're on the way. But this is the new Wrath from Gherkin, which we kind of talked about, obviously, with the untitled paddle. It's 10 millimeter cell size, 16 millimeter core. It's a Gen 3 style paddle. Unique shape. This is the elongated. It does come in 3. So they've got the hybrid and they've got their wide body. I enjoyed it. I played a little bit with this. Haven't gotten too much, but I've got probably 3 or 4 games. It's solid. It's another Gen 3 paddle. It's just another great option to have like on the market. And I know Gherkin's really kind of been trying to obviously carve their own path and obviously doing some good marketing things with the co-hosts, as well as just like taking feedback on their design and stuff like that. But you've had a little bit more playtime with the Untitled. I know you gave some of your thoughts. Anything additional you wanted to say on that?
No, like you said, it's a good Gen 3 paddle. It's solid. I like the new shape. I can't decide if I like the rounded top or not. I was telling you this.
Yeah.
Now that we've gotten some more paddles coming out that are just the regular elongated, I'm kind of back to just enjoying that.
That's going away from the boomstick and the
going away from the boomstick and the era, and just enjoying with some paddles we're going to talk about in just a minute. But yeah, it's like you said, it's a solid option. I'm not sure what the price is going to be on this.
If I remember correctly, I think the price was $135 and it's like around $120 after code. So I mean, very, very attractive Gen 3 paddle. Definitely makes it a little bit more appealing. Because I do think the sweet spot could be a little better. It's not bad. Like I certainly have enjoyed it. But they also did something unique of, it is a Gen 3 paddle, but they're saying it's like a modified Gen 3. And I know you had touched upon this with the prototype that you got, but the foam ring actually disconnects in the 4 corners. So it's kind of a floating core, just not a true floating core. Yeah, it feels great. It's solid. And again, for $120 after code, like if you like Gen 3 paddles, this is a very good option to look at. The last thing on it too is it's got a carbon fiber, fiberglass carbon fiber face layout. And then lastly, do you remember the swing weight for this?
Yeah, I believe on mine it was 116 swing weight and then around 6.3 on the twist weight.
Yeah,
so
pretty good numbers then too for the elongated.
So yeah, definitely room for weight. Yeah, I put a little bit of weight on mine. Not a ton.
Yeah, and I've been playing mine stock still too. So I'm sure my impressions of this will get even better with some modification. But I'll continue playtesting this. I just got this in. Like I said, I only got a couple games on it. But yeah, just wanted to make sure we highlighted it since we kind of had talked with the Untitled. And now we have a name, which is the Wrath from Gherkin.
Yeah. Yeah. And then next we also we got a pretty fun paddle here. It's the Diadem Edge Blucore updated.
Yeah.
So they went back to their 18K carbon fiber layup. And then there's now 3 spots where you can see the Blucore. So you can see it right here, and on the butt cap still. This paddle is a major upgrade.
Oh, it's so much better. It is so much better than the original Blucores. I know there's a lot of Diadem fans out there. I know the Warrior used to be a huge paddle.
Yep.
I think just the Diadem 18K, I think that was just the title of the paddle.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of that. I think it was just a normal Gen 2. But yeah, just bringing the Edge and the 18K carbon fiber face to the Blucore is definitely a welcome upgrade. Because yeah, the original ones, I think they just were rushing because Carbon obviously had launched their foam paddles, and then Selkirk with the 008s, and then Diadem with their Blucore.
Yep.
Just kind of rushed to market. I think Blucore also, they had so many options, and just there was really not any technology in the paddle. It was just a foam slat, and they were all super light. Like at least the 008s played like pretty solid stock. I think they still needed weight to hit, like, you know, have some punch. But like the original Blucores were just kind of, they were missing something.
But this thing, I mean, it hits hard.
Oh,
It's got some pop.
it's got a much better feel, better feedback, much better power. The only thing that is a complaint with this is the swing weights.
Yeah.
The swing weights are all very high. Like this is the 14 millimeter elongated. And like when I first picked this up, I had heard from some other people. They're like, hey, like, they're like, message me what you think of this when you get it. And I was like, oh, this thing feels like a tank. Like it's heavy.
Yeah.
But with that, it's better out of the box.
Yeah.
You don't have to put as much stock. I probably still will add a little bit just because I think, again, it's foam. There are a couple dead spots still. The other thing too, which I actually hadn't confirmed this, but looking at it, I think this is the case. You actually can pop off the end cap. And I know you can put actually some weight in there. So you don't have to take off everything to do like a slice cap. You can actually just do either some weighted tape, layer it up, or I think like Braden, I think from Pickleball Effect was mentioning like putty. There's tungsten putty, which is used in tennis. So I thought that was kind of a unique thing. Because I know coming from golf, like people put lead or tungsten on the bottom of their putters and it's just pretty standard. So it's kind of cool that you're able to actually have a little space there.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, better upgrade. It looks better. It feels better.
Design's cool.
Do you have the numbers on this?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I think the swing weight was over 120, which is kind of a lot for a 14 millimeter.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels like it. We'll confirm. I guess we'll get probably all the swing weights and twist weights next week because I only got these in a couple days ago. But yeah, it just overall though, just a very welcome upgrade from Diadem. Obviously, a big player in the space. I know they own some facilities. They're trying to grow pickleball, so it's just nice that in a sea of paddles that we say like everything's good, their last paddle wasn't the best.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see they've made some welcome upgrades. And I definitely think like this is a paddle, if someone I saw was using it, I wouldn't fault them. I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Versus the original one, I'd be like, all right, mainly because of the price. Because that's the only downside with these. Again, I think they're $280, $270.
Yeah.
Just there's so many options that are just great options that are cheaper. But I mean, if you're a Diadem fan or you just really like the design, or again, like if you like it, like if you demo it, you're like,
it's a good paddle. Yeah. I mean, this one, like you said, I wouldn't fault anybody. It's a good paddle.
Yeah. But I'll probably have a review out on this one. The original Blucore, I had filmed something and I didn't want to recommend it, so I didn't release anything, but I should have something out on this in the coming week. Because I think these release actually like the 25th, I want to say, this podcast might not be out by the time this launches. I don't know. I got to figure out when I'm posting this, but regardless, these should be out possibly. So be on the lookout.
Yeah. Cool.
Another paddle that we have, that we got from Body Helix is a new Flik paddle, which is the Falcon. And they were doing some teases. Obviously, I was a big fan of their last solid foam paddle. I was a really big fan of it. I mained it for a month. But this one's interesting. So I think you saw the x-rays of it.
Mm-hmm.
They have cork in the core. So it's foam, but then there's 5 circles of cork.
Yeah.
And I've heard some companies messing around with cork because they say it's a really good like material to like use. But I've heard there's some problems with it in terms of, I think, some weighting. So I think the way they went around it is they only did several pieces of it.
Does it go all the way across or is it just at the top?
Yeah, no. So based on the x-ray I saw, there's 3 circles this way and then 3 circles this way, leaving the corners empty.
Okay.
And when I saw that, very similar to like when we had the Arma, it was like, oh, is it going to react differently?
Yeah.
And when I first hit it, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this. But having played it the last 2 days, definitely a bigger fan of it than I thought. As well as just as a foam option, it's definitely one I prefer. Because it's foam, as we had mentioned, is kind of falling in this category of most Gen 3 paddles, like good Gen 3 paddles, are still going to be better than the best foam paddle.
Yeah.
But if we're comparing just foam, this is on the better half for me.
Yeah.
I would say I even, I can't, actually, I'm going to hold back on comments on that because I haven't modified some of the other paddles that we just talked about. Yeah. But stock, in all honesty, like I could play this. I think it's a little head heavy, which is probably why I like it. Yeah. But it's not uncontrollable.
The swing weight's only 114.
Yeah, it's fairly low.
I mean, I think once you add weight too, I think it'll change it. I don't know.
I just think the balance point on this one's a little higher, and it's probably because there's more weight with that cork at the top. I think that's probably what it is. But for me personally, like I really like the weighting of this paddle. I haven't really felt the need to add weight. Mm-hmm. I might try it just to see how it changes the paddle, but this is one, honestly, I kind of like stock.
Yeah.
So, but man, like you want to talk about something that feels great when you hit the middle. That cork, the feedback is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I'll be intrigued to see if they continue with that technology or if some others also adopt it. But I'm very intrigued by this paddle. Need more play testing, but do you want to run? I know you said the swing weight was...
Yeah, so the swing weight was 114, and then the twist weight was like 5.7. So
and this is for the elongated.
For the elongated, yeah. So it's a little low, but I think, like I said, it's 114, so you can put plenty of weight on it and bring that up. And then... price, I believe it's 190 before code.
So probably, I think around 170 probably after. And I think also these are shipping on October 1st. So I think they might be up for pre-order.
Cool.
But yeah.
They changed the design a little bit. It doesn't look exactly like the F1. So that's good.
One of their paddles looked identical. So
it was so funny. I was going through my closet the other day and I was like, I have 8 paddles that look exactly the same.
I'll tell you what was hard is I did a foam power test recently, which is because I wanted to see how the Waves stacks up because everyone kept telling me this is an all-court paddle. I'm like, you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, the Waves is clearly a power paddle. But with that, I grabbed the original Flik because I hadn't had this yet.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like having to make sure it wasn't the Gen 3 one or the illegal one or the so many options. And again, they all look very similar.
Because they sent us like 4 prototypes. Yeah. One was a control of the F1, one was a illegal of the F1, and then the actual F1.
Very, very welcomed. I think it's simple.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's good.
And it's got its own name. So
yeah, exactly.
That's a very welcomed upgrade, I think. So well done, Body Helix. I have been enjoying this, but like I said, I'm going to be doing a ranking soon. And also I want more playtime with it because
for sure.
Second and third play testing versus the first was drastically different for me.
So absolutely. Yeah, and then jumping into this, I know you've been loving this paddle. Yeah. We got the J6NF. So it's just a new elongated shape from Honolulu in their NF series. There's also an FC Plus J6. You like it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say because I mean, it's more of the same. The FC Plus, I think, hits softer than the NF, but you can get a lot out of the FC Plus. Like I think there's more variability in the power versus this one. I think is kind of pretty much just always is the same.
Yeah.
I've been using the J7 a lot. I was using the J2 long handle as well as the original, a little bit with the J3, but really the long handle and the J7 had been kind of the main two I'd been using. Mm-hmm. And then Jam had mentioned that this new elongated shape was coming out and I was very intrigued. And I played the FC Plus. I played this, just wanted to see. I'm like, maybe I'll like the FC Plus more in this shape. I still really like that paddle, but the NF is just what I prefer. And I played really well with this paddle.
Yeah.
It's one of those, again, it's not the hardest hitting foam paddle. It hits plenty hard. It's definitely low end power, but this shape, just kind of what you were mentioning of like either around the top or just kind of going back to what you're more normal with. It's like having more of that square rectangle, even though this is definitely unique. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I definitely play better with it. Yeah. And also, speaking of Body Helix doing a redesign, first redesign for Honolulu.
Yep.
And they went completely the other way of going from having stuff everywhere on the paddle to having a very just just the name of the paddle.
Yep.
Which personally, I'm hoping they will do a new design now for every new release, because you want to talk about getting confused with paddles.
Oh my goodness.
Everything looks the same. The other thing too, which I was a little surprised by, and I know this is not some people's cup of tea, some people aren't a big fan of this, but they changed the Bible verse.
They did.
Because it's been the same Bible verse on every paddle.
Yep.
And this one's 2 Corinthians. So we'll see. Maybe they will do new Bible verses for new paddles. I don't know.
Yeah.
Regardless, if you like that or not, I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, first major redesign. The biggest thing for me, I'm just so happy there's no more gray grip and gray edge guard.
Yep.
Because having that on every one of their paddles, I was getting a bit tired of it. I honestly didn't hate their design of their paddles. I just wish they went to the white edge guard.
Yep.
I think that alone would have made me a lot happier. So
I agree.
But you got to play with this a little bit.
Yeah, I played a couple games with it, not a ton, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I liked the J2NF. And it was good. Clearly, not a big fan of hybrids. So I like this shape. Like you said, it's not traditional, but it's good. And
yeah.
Like you said, it's more the same, but a great upgrade. And for people who like standard elongated paddles,
yeah,
you're going to like it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, I mean, if you're a stickler for you have to use, let's say, the Perseus shape, you have to have a 5.5 handle and it has to be that shape. Maybe you won't like this, but if you're someone who uses a lot of paddles and, goes to let's say a Proton Flamingo that has a 5.35 handle, or even the Magnus to the Perseus to maybe the Huarache, if you're used to kind of blending around, I think this is a really nice shape.
I agree.
I think it kind of blends a lot of those things together. Yeah, it's
somewhere in between the Era and the Perseus.
Pretty much. So I wish they would have just made a normal, out of all their shapes, just make a normal elongated. But I will say, I don't hate this, and actually I have quite enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so
they like being different.
This might be the new main if I'm staying with a foam paddle, because I know I had switched off of the J7 or the J7, but this might be it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then do you have numbers for this one?
Yeah, so numbers on this one, we got 118 swing weight, so pretty standard for elongated paddles, and then 6.7 twist weight. So it's a pretty high.
That's why he keeps the design.
Yeah.
He likes keeping, for marketing and I would say from performance, having a higher twist weight, there are performance benefits to it. Might not be for everybody, but I think for most people, it's nice having that just kind of right out of the box.
Yeah.
So having experimented with weight, I'm sure I will really like this paddle after that. But yeah, if I like a paddle stock, it's usually a pretty good sign. Unless it's clearly designed you need to add weight.
No, for sure.
Like the Quanta or like the C45.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, very, very welcomed addition for me. I'm hoping this obviously stays pretty standard for them.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
And then the last paddle, which he had messaged a lot of the reviewers a couple months ago. We weren't allowed to mention it or talk about it, but PPA Pro James Ignatowicz, his Selkirk contract has expired. And he had I did an hour-long phone call with him, just asked him some questions, getting to know him. We're actually going to meet up with him in Vegas in a couple weeks. But he has, I think, co-founded or founded his own pickleball company, which is RPN. And I think there are 4 paddles, 2 elongateds and a 16 and 14. And then I believe it's a hybrid or
wide body.
2 wide bodies. I only have the 14 elongated. One thing I do want to say, not to say something negative about these paddles, but one hiccup I saw that they did run into is the 16 elongated. The PBCor came back as a 0.44, which I don't know if they're selling that or not, because in 1 month you won't be able to use that technically in tournaments at least. Obviously, rec play you can use whatever you want. But so I haven't asked him because I just saw that the other day on their website. So I don't know if he's going to re-release the 16 millimeter with a 0.43. I assume he will. Yeah. So first impressions of this, it's a Gen 3 paddle, comes in super light. I think that was reflective in the swing weight numbers.
Yeah. The swing weight was like 111 and then the twist weight was 6.2. So still pretty high for how light the paddle is. But when we were playing earlier, I was like, this needs, I'm all the way up. Yeah, this needs a lot of weight.
This is one where it needs weight for the feel of the paddle, not for the sweet spot or even the performance. No, it's just swinging it, yeah, it's like I was swinging early on some shots and it comes in really light. But if you like light paddles and you like elongated, I mean, there's not that many options out there. I know like the Chorus Fire is one of those, the C45s. But yeah, this would be a good option for that. I think the retail price is around $250.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has codes or not. I'll figure that out. I think I'm going to do some videos around this, but yeah, no, it was really solid. Hitting drives, it was really fun. It feels good.
Yeah, your serve was really good.
Yeah. It's one of those things it's another great option. It's a Gen 3. It's kind of what we were saying with the Gherkin.
Yeah.
I think I prefer this one a little bit. Yeah. But it's one of those things of you have to ask yourself as a consumer, it's like, I think this is a better paddle. I prefer this paddle, but double the price of the Gherkin. But at the end of the day, like I do think this is pretty close to like a 3S.
Very similar to Eola.
Which is what I'm sure he was probably trying to go after. And other than the new 3S, which is launching at $200, the Pro 4 is still $280. So this does come in slightly cheaper than that. I do think this is like a higher end player's paddle.
Yeah,
not that obviously all levels can't use it, but I definitely think that's who he was catering for. I'll be intrigued to see if James ends up using this in PPAs, because I think as of right now, it's not on the UPAA list. But that'll be something I'm going to ask him of if he has future plans for that, because I would assume he'd want to rep his own brand.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because I think he's been using blank paddles as of late.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it'll be interesting. I know he was right before we started filming. I was on Instagram. And he was with John Q in there, in his basement, doing all the tests with the ball cannon, and he's a big paddle nerd.
Oh, massively.
Massive.
I mean, I remember on the phone call, I think I was telling you right after, I mean, he basically devoted 6 months to trying to learn as much as he possibly could.
Yeah.
With this, he absolutely loves paddle technology.
Yeah.
So it's definitely cool. And I mean, I know we always joke it's hard to make your first paddle. I know we always joke it's hard to make a bad paddle nowadays. But I will say for a first paddle from a company, like this is a very solid option.
No, for sure.
So if you're a big fan of James Ignatowicz, maybe you have a local rep in your city, possibly. I don't know if he's doing that or not, but if you're able to demo one and you like it, like I said, I wouldn't fault you for picking this up.
Yeah, I know some stores are getting it, so
yeah,
I'm sure they're probably running some demos.
But yeah, I'll be intrigued to see how many of these we see in the wild.
Yeah, I'm excited,
especially in tournaments too.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm sure we'll have more. We'll ask more questions of James when we're in Vegas. But it's very happy to have gotten this, and yeah, no, I've enjoyed my time. It's just very light,
for sure.
And then lastly, not a paddle. But something got confirmed to me because I had a couple comments. We were talking about the PBCor numbers and power, and someone had brought up John Q has tested weight on paddles, and the PBCor is not affected. Fine. However, power is affected, and I think John even in this week clarified that. So my whole question is, if PBCor is supposed to slow the game down and monitor power, yet it's not indicative of the paddle changing because it's stationary, the test is meaningless in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like completely meaningless. Because I was talking to 2 paddle manufacturers, and if anyone wants to do this, be my guest. Why wouldn't you just design a paddle like we were saying last week that is like a 108 swing weight, PBCor 0.43, and then you throw a bunch of lead on it and the thing hits like a tank.
Yeah.
And I got confirmation from the UPAA, at least on their side, if you do that, they don't have a problem with it. And then it's like, okay, that directly goes against the whole point of the test.
Yeah. No,
so I'm like,
crazy.
How
does it not affect it though?
Because it's the paddle stationary. So it's more of a deflection test versus
it deflects.
It's because it's moment of inertia, which is the reason why this all got brought up and where I really started going back to this, because I was saying this a while ago.
Yeah.
And then the boomstick did, because I've always been talking about 3 and 9 for one. I've always thought 3 and 9 is a great spot to put weight. And then obviously they put a ton of weight there.
Yeah, it's a terrible spot.
You love the boomstick.
I had to put more weight on it to lower it.
Anyways. It all comes down to if you can swing something the same speed with more weight, it's going to hit harder because it's going to have a harder moment of inertia. That's the difference. The problem is the paddle's stationary, so you're not getting that extra motion.
Yeah.
I know this from golf because like that's on the golf side, like when they test clubs, they have a robot that swings a club the exact same way every single time. And that's how they measure it. Versus this, they're only doing it, like I said, it's essentially a deflection test. I know it's different.
That's why paddles like the Course Fire fail.
Yes.
Because it deflects like crazy.
Yes.
But not power.
Correct. So it's just, the reason why I bring this up is, one, obviously that's a big flaw in our paddle testing for trying to slow the game down. And obviously I think we haven't seen any power paddles that have come out where like, oh my gosh, like, what is this?
Yeah.
But it's just, the boomstick got me thinking to come back to this topic, because I'm like, you could probably design that thing in a way of where we're like, oh my gosh, we have the mod back. And obviously I got verification. There is a way you could design a paddle that they will do nothing about. So it's just, I wonder if someone's going to do it. But the bigger thing to me is we have USAP and UPA that invested all this money into this paddle testing technology. And now very quickly, some YouTubers are proving how it's obsolete, or at least bringing into question how obsolete it should be. Yeah. For how we should be testing paddles. So I don't know. It seems like we have to test paddles with it moving. That's my only.
It's interesting though, because deflection goes up when you put weight on it. Like it comes off harder.
But that's also, part of that comes though with a little motion.
I guess.
Because obviously otherwise that'd be reflected in PBCor. And John has tested this extensively and it's the exact same number.
Yeah. So we just need a robot.
Yeah, it's going to need a robot, which is what, like I said, golf does that. I don't know if tennis does that. Obviously, there's less, the strings, that's the bigger thing there now. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I had a couple comments on that and I clarified, and I think then the point was taken. Yeah. Because I don't think that was clear. I think maybe this was 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And then I saw John follow up on it. And then I got some answers from UPA. So I was like, I just wanted to bring it up because it's so clearly flawed.
Yeah, no.
And yet we're running with it like this is gospel.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, the clearest point to this is we have all these paddles that are maxing out at 0.43 and some very clearly hit harder than others.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say, the PBCor is better than nothing. So I'm not trying to bash USAP and UPA for adding a new test that clearly has gotten rid of some of the higher end power paddles that were a problem.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, if you can game the system, eventually paddle companies are going to, because as we mentioned, all these paddles are good.
Yeah. Those paddles failed more too because they break.
Correct. The destructive testing.
More than
not the Pro Power. Yeah. Original Gearbox Pro Power.
But that thing was broken.
Technically not.
It was broken.
It heats up, but it's like, it's a foam core. It heats up like the Ripple does. Of where the core doesn't break, but the foam expands.
Okay, it's still
I know, but it's just by definition, yes. But it just, the thing is, I think when we hear broken, we're thinking polymer cores that are cracking.
Yeah.
So I just want to distinguish the two.
For sure.
The core is changed. Like in my opinion, that's more the core changing and expanding versus breaking.
That's fair.
Anyways, but that's my little soapbox for the week. I didn't want to start with that because I wanted to jump into paddles, but I did want to end with that. And then outside of that, we do have to announce our giveaway winner.
Yeah, we're going to be giving away a C45 of any shape or thickness that you're looking for.
Yep, and we did our random drawing, and this was for anyone that had entered by commenting on our last two podcasts, so you could have up to 2 entries. And the winner was All Pickleball V4J. So
cool.
Hopefully we can get in contact with you. If not, we will have an update on our next podcast we'll have another winner, but I'm assuming the last 2 winners have gotten back to us pretty quickly. So yeah. But other than that, thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you next time.